Hello, nerds. Is it okay if I call people nerds? I actually ask everybody that I work with if I can call them a nerd when I first start working with them, just to make sure it's okay, because there's a whole thing called EO or HR, and I want to make sure it's alright if I call them nerds. But yeah, let's talk about 3D printing. So, a couple of friends and people have asked me about my 3D printing journey, how I got to where I'm at, what I do, and how it happened. Um, it started off, I'd say like 4 or 5 years ago, I bought a Mars resin printer, which actually ended up almost killing 3D printing for me at first. I didn't realize how difficult resin printing was going to be. It was really difficult. The hardest part when I first started was actually I didn't know what slicing was. I had to figure that out. And then I bought some files because I don't 3D model. I've tried some 3D modeling in VR chat and made some worlds, but that was all like pre-made assets. So yeah, I bought files. I did some like slicing and then I printed them, and then I didn't realize you'd had to wash and cure them. So then I put it in the washing and curing machine. First washing it with rubbing alcohol. I didn't know you could buy rubbing alcohol by the bulk, so I bought a bunch of little bottles of it. Then later I discovered water-based resin that you can wash with that instead. So I tried that. I also didn't realize that if you don't let your resin prints dry before you cure them, they get stuck to the bed. And yeah, that happened a lot. And then it caused warps and imperfections, and pretty much none of my resin prints ever turned out good. So that was a nightmare. Um, that ended up sitting on my shelf for about half a year. And then I ended up buying a FDM printer because I was like, all right, maybe this other type of printing is the way to go. So I kept seeing like Enders. Everybody always talked about Ender, specifically the bed slinger type. So I was like, all right, let's get one of these things. I saw the Ender price tag and I was like, well, that's outside of my range. In retrospect, I probably should have just saved for a little longer and bought the Ender. It would have saved me a lot of trouble, but I ended up buying a clone of an Ender called a G-Tech A20 from AliExpress. And yeah, it arrived, threw some filament on it, didn't have to slice nowhere near as much as you do for a resin printer. Yeah, so I put that in there and I started printing, and it printed great. It was way more easy to use, way more user friendly, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I then wanted to like mess around with it some more. The reason why I got the G-Tech was their advertisements specifically said that it was open source. So when I started looking into the open source part of it, I was like, wow, that's really cool. A lot of printers are open source. So I was like, I'm getting this one. I probably should have done more research, to be honest, because it wasn't as open source as I thought it was going to be. It turned out like none of the information for the PCB that it comes with was out there. Many people didn't even use this brand or even heard of it. It was just what I found on AliExpress at the time. So as I started upgrading it, I had to write my own portions of the firmware when I flashed Marlin firmware over to it. So then I started diving into that. Pretty much I'd get like 4 to 5 successful prints, and then I was like, yeah, let's upgrade this. Um, I introduced, yeah, like the Marlin firmware. I had to change a bunch of settings in that to get it to even work. Then I wanted to add a double Z axis with 2 rods so that I could go up and down quicker, more stable maybe. Um, I went with a Micro Swift direct drive hot end, which I actually got one for an Ender. Unfortunately, it didn't work for the G-Tech, so I had to modify that to get it to work. There was also issues that I was having with my printing. Every now and then, when I would print, the corners would start just spaghettiing all the time. Uh, Everything that I did, I thought, like, I was like, maybe I did something wrong, so I started messing with it a lot, trying to fix that specific issue. And then I was like, maybe it's just the firmware. Maybe when I was editing stuff, I messed something up in the firmware. So I realized that it was wobbling more on the edges. So I was like, all right, maybe I can adjust the offset. So when it would get to a certain point on the bed, I had the offset step down or up so that way it would compensate for the wobble. And then I kind of coded that all into the firmware of the prints to compensate for that. But somebody in Discord, I think it was one of my wife's friends, at Alan, he was like, "Hey man, I never had to do any of that stuff with my printer." So I started looking more into it, and yeah, apparently on the bed itself, underneath it, where the four bolts were to like adjust it, one of the nuts is called a eccentric nut. So essentially, if it's like a circle, there's an offset to it. So as you adjust that nut, it would bring the bed left or right and closer or tighter. So yeah, I didn't know that exists. It also existed on the x-axis going across. So that was definitely a learning experience. And then I spent a lot of time modifying firmware, learning a lot of math and doing a lot of random stuff trying to get that to work. ChatGPT wasn't really a big thing back then, where you could just ask it, "Hey, do this." Like, yeah, it did. Yeah, I had to do it all on my own. So it was a good learning experience. I got Octoprint running with my Raspberry Pi. Marlin was running great. Did all sorts of different modifications. I switched out the stepper motor so I could have dual Z. Um, did a lot of just random things. One of the most notable things that I did that I actually felt made a huge difference was my stepper motor drivers. It had some really old style ones that you couldn't quite microstep as high, so everybody kept talking about, yeah, you need this if you want to do this. So I got new stepper motor drivers. Nothing in the documentation said if they would work, but I was like, this is all pretty similar. This should work in theory, when I was looking at all the specifications. So yeah, I had to just kind of YOLO it. I threw them on there and they worked great. It also kind of silenced it. It made it way quieter, so I really enjoyed that. Um, as I was tinkering with this and modifying everything and doing all these steps, I discovered the Voron community. I was reading a lot about Vorons and I was like, yo, this is sick. Uh, I started like piecing out different printers, how I would build them, what I would do, and I realized that they're really expensive and I didn't quite have the disposable income that I do now, because I recently got promoted, recently being like a year and a half ago now. So yeah, maybe it's 2 years now, but yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe I won't build one of those, but then I was like, maybe I could just harvest parts from like something on eBay. So I got on eBay and I found some Anycubic printers that were actually Ender clones. So yeah, I got those. I used my credit card points actually, so they're completely free. Apparently, Anycubic at the time, I don't know if at this time they still have it, but they were returned printers. So somebody basically tried to use them, and then they weren't working for them, so they returned them because of whatever defect, and they didn't want to spend the time to fix them. So I got those printers. The first printer that I got actually, it wasn't printing specifically because of the same reason, like it had failed prints because of the eccentric nut. So it looked like whoever he was using it before couldn't get it to be even on that axis, basically on the y-axis, and they were just struggling. So I adjusted those and then it printed perfectly. uh, this second printer had the same issue but on the x-axis, to the point where it looked like they completely bent the frame. So I put that in a vise, I unbent it, and then I got it printed, and both printers were working great for about a week. Then I disassembled them. I took them completely apart, and then the idea was is I could use all these parts to build a new printer. So that's pretty much what I started doing. Then I went down a huge rabbit hole. I pretty much wanted to use all of those parts to build a Voron switch wire. I threw them all together. I got that running for just a little bit, and then I got more ideas. Then I ordered more stuff off AliExpress, so on and so forth. Eventually, I got like a, it's called a MakerBot replicator too, which is pretty old, like RepRat board and everything. They had it included. Somebody was selling it on Facebook Marketplace for like 50 quid. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it off your hands. It comes with all these extra parts, wonderful. And then I had the idea of painting that like the Borderlands, like their black market thing. I was gonna paint it like that and do all this stuff, but I never got around to it. I start too many projects and then never finish them. So yeah, there was that. Then eventually I got a Voron, Seaber Voron Zero kit from AliExpress, which was a horrible idea. So that's actually this one right here. I got that from AliExpress. I started assembling it originally with all of the Voron parts, or the Seaber parts, and it was alright, but a lot of the stuff wasn't fitting properly. The motors weren't to specification, and there was just like a lot of things that weren't working out. When I wired it all up with the hot end, nothing was working out. So then I ended up getting an umbilical kit, a different hot end, and switching out a lot of the 3D printed parts. During that time, I needed to print my own parts because I was struggling, but then all of my other printers were disassembled to build these things, so I couldn't actually print them. And then for Christmas, my wife bought me a Dremel 3D printer, which actually worked great. Had its little nuances and things, like I started having to put glue on the glass bed, only use Dremel PLA, and basically it had like the RFID detection, and those work great, but their actual spool were a unique size, so if I had a larger spool I'd have to transfer it to a smaller spool and do all sorts of things, but it worked great. And then yeah, that's pretty much what happened for printing. And then as that happened, we're building other things, and then she bought me, probably like 2 years later, a year later, she bought me a P1S for Christmas, and that printer was phenomenal. I got to make some really cool stuff with that. I actually, personally, I don't like 3D printing. I through all of this, I've learned that I don't actually like to print anything. I like building and tinkering with the printers. I kind of treat it like probably car hobbyists do, how they like to build race cars and try to make their car go as quick as they can. I like building 3D printers and trying to make them go quick, or just even making them work when I can make them work. But I typically start a lot of different projects and then not finish them. So the goal right now is to get the proper parts and actually build my V0 and finish it, so then it's running, and then get it serialized. It's not going to be completely to the bomb spec, bill of materials. I do have some other parts that I'm going to include on it, but yeah, right now I just had my LDO stepper motors come in, and then there's a few more pieces that I need, and then it will be good to go. Yeah, and then I'll build that. I'm planning on making a video, including everything that I'm building for that. Yeah, there's a lot of other printer stuff that I didn't talk about. At some point, my wife got a Kodak printer, which was pretty unique. It worked great until they phased it out, and then as soon as they phased it out, they brought in a new one. But the company that she bought it from was like, hey, if you can return this, but then if you send us like an extra $1,000, we'll give you a Raise 3D E2 Pro, which is a pretty expensive printer. So she ended up getting that for like half off, and pretty much all of our big prints, or all of her big prints, she'd do it. She makes some pretty cool things, like the Space Marine armor back up there, Space Wolf armor. She actually made that for my dog, or our dog. It's pretty cool. He loves the thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much how my printing journey has gone. I really like just tinkering and building the printers, and modifying them and doing all sorts of that cool things with them. So yeah, I can't wait to share more with you guys and actually share the Voron running. But yep, that's it.